2022 will be entered into our Christmas raffle. For more details, visit atlabank.com. Atlantic Bank, spreading Christmas joy this holiday season.
Stop, love. Don't paint that wall. I have a better idea. Let us wallpaper it. It is cleaner, easier, and so beautiful and looks very artistic when it is all done. And takes less time to do up a wall than to use that smelly paint. And guess what? It is romantic.
What you mean romantic? What is romantic about putting up a wallpaper, honey? Tell me more.
Well, you see, we will go to Mikado and see the range of wallpaper. Then we will choose the design together. We will come home and start putting up the wallpaper. And we will be together and be beside each other. We can put wallpaper in all the rooms. And who knows? They even have wallpaper for the baby room too.
Well, I like the sound of that. So what are we waiting for? Let's go to Mercado like now.
Come in, honey.
You can also see our selection of wallpaper on our Facebook page. Like us and follow us on Facebook. Mercado, centrally located in the heart of Belize City at number 37 Albert Street.
Channel 7's Christmas brand is here. It's all happening from Sunday, December 11th to Thursday, December 15th.
And we want you to come up on all the giveaways. So how do you do that?
Come to our office on Albert Street to buy your 25-cent ticket. You can buy as many as you want for more and more chances at a prize.
That ticket gets your name in the barrel and gives you a chance to win cash prizes, jewelry, electronic appliances, and much, much more.
Then, join us in person on Thursday, December 15th for the Brams Grand Finale at Blue Martini. Your $10 entrance gets you a golden ticket to win even bigger prizes.
So that's 5 nights of non-stop entertainment, non-stop giveaways, and non-stop fun.
This message is brought to you by the Insurance Corporation of Belize. Please be advised that all claims relating to Hurricane Lisa must be submitted by the 2nd of December 2022. To report a claim, call 224-5328 or 224-5329. Call or WhatsApp 613-0693 or 613-0645. Email icb@icbinsurance.com. Claim forms are available on icbinsurance.com. We are aware that this is your time of need, and we will do our best to efficiently serve you. May God bless you and your family and keep you safe.
Next Gen takes you to Qatar. Catch the live action and excitement of FIFA World Cup 2022 from November 20th to December 18th exclusively on Next Gen. Make the switch and sign up today. Packages start as low as $5. Next Gen, the official broadcaster of FIFA World Cup in Belize.
Belize, you're watching the Nation Station, Channel 7.
John Saldivar was designated by the U.S. State Department on November the 15th. And today, 17 days later, a UDP special committee met to decide his fate and his future in the party. They met at party headquarters where Saldivar appeared before the committee of 7 for upwards of an hour in a closed-door meeting. That finished at 12:30, and the committee, led by Chairman Pan Convention, should no longer represent the party as a candidate. Party leader Shine Barrow embraced the decision and held a press conference by 2:30 to say he fully embraces and endorses that decision.
Well, the decision is that we feel it is in the best interest of the special committee. I agree categorically, unconditionally, with the special committee that Mr. Saldivar should not run as a candidate and should withdraw from politics at this time. And I am pleased that the special committee has made a decision that indicates clearly to the nation and to the world that the United Democratic Party has a zero tolerance for endemic corruption, has a zero tolerance for any of our members that will engage repeatedly in personal misconduct.
How was this decision arrived at in the absence of the evidence that was being sought from the U.S. State Department earlier this week?
I just said, if you would have listened to me, that we are not the Supreme Court of Belize, we are not the Magistrates Court of Belize, and it is not our search for a perfect justice. Our search is as an institution, the government in waiting, the constitutional opposition, and our responsibility to the nation to demonstrate that we are a viable alternative. In my conversations with the media, never said that this was black and white and that it was a matter of, well, if they have the evidence, then we will make a decision. If they don't, well, as some may have speculated that this was a kangaroo court and, you know, we were just going through the motions because there's no sufficient legal or technical evidence. There is a mountain of circumstantial evidence of allegations of significant corruption, all the way back to when Prime Minister Barrow moved Mr. Saldivar, according to Mr. Saldivar himself, from the Ministry of Immigration, where his sister remained the CEO of immigration, and corruption continued in immigration. Yes, Jules.
Mr. Saldivar indicated in his press conference that he would wish to appeal any decision made against him, if it's an adverse decision, to the National Party Council. Will he be permitted to appeal to the National Party Council?
Absolutely. That is a part of natural justice and due process.
So, it's not over then?
It is my position as the duly elected leader of the United Democratic Party that John Saldivar should not run for the UDP and should withdraw from politics in the position as an area representative or a standard bearer and deal with all of the matters that have befallen him. And I think a retirement from politics at this time is the wise decision. I am saying that I have a vote in the MPC, and I will vote that the recommendation, the decision of the special committee stand, and I will do everything to encourage my colleagues to respect the decision of the special committee for the best interests of the party. I am grateful to Mr. Saldivar for all of his contributions to the party, but it is my firm belief that the decision made by the special committee signals the end of his political career.
Sir, but you were instrumental in installing him or endorsing him as Western Region Coordinator, and you gave that famous speech where you said he's a man of the people, he's a humble man, he has served this party. You did that just a few months ago, sir. So what explains this total reversal?
It is not a reversal, it is a fluid situation. It has developed, and I am big on reform. I am big on rehabilitation. I am big on redemption. I am big on second chances. So while others were not prepared to give Mr. Saldivar a second chance, an opportunity to redeem himself, I had no difficulty with that, because I have been in a position where I needed the people in Mesopotamia, the people of this country, to give me an opportunity to prove myself. So I did that, and you make mention of it. I did it unreservedly. I was not trying to be fancy. I was wholeheartedly behind this opportunity for redemption, and it didn't work out. We have now a situation where there is a designation by the United States Department. There is a criminal investigation by the Commissioner of Police. It is just too much for the party to continue to carry.
But not surprisingly, John Saldivar doesn't see it that way at all. He has steadfastly maintained his innocence and that he is being accused without evidence. Clearly, the special committee believe that in politics, perception is reality, widely accepted conventional wisdom which Saldivar has rejected. And maybe that's why Shine Barrow says he had to plead with his recent companion.
I have asked him, I have pleaded with him to stand down. That was my appeal to him.
Sir, from the fact to say you pleaded with him indicates that he is not in agreement with your proposition that he go quietly into that good night.
Again, I don't want to get into a debate as to what is in his mind. It was a difficult decision made today by the special committee. It was painful. I spoke to different members after the fact, and it was a decision that some did not want to make. But they said what is best for the party. And my position is this is what is best for the party. I thank Mr. Saldivar. I pray that Mr. Saldivar will be able to gather himself and to find meaning and purpose in another role, if it is that he still wants to be involved in politics, but not as an official, not as a candidate for the United Democratic Party.
When he was inside the party headquarters, we did try to get a statement from Saldivar, but he flatly refused. He later issued a terse press release via WhatsApp message, which says, quote, "I have been informed of the decision of the special committee of the UDP to refer the matter of my continued candidacy for the Balbapan constituency to the National Party Council after a narrow vote against my candidacy. The final decision lies with the NPC, and I therefore await the decision of that august body," end quote. That meeting is scheduled to be held next Friday, we are told. And that National Party Council meeting in a week means that Saldivar will be flexing for all the support he can muster, which is a considerable number. That's because he's the head of the Caucus for Change, a bloc of about 20 constituencies allied with him. They almost spearheaded an overthrow of Patrick Faber when he was leader, and they got his successor, Shine Barrow, elected. So what will that group do now that Saldivar is on the political chopping block? Barrow didn't want to talk about the caucus.
Sir, will he continue to lead the Caucus for Change?
I don't speak for the Caucus for Change.
Okay, so the Caucus for Change, maybe you've heard of them, are a group
No, I don't speak for them.
I understand. But you understand that they are the largest constituent group in the party, the largest organized constituent group. And from what I saw at his press conference and the pronouncements he's been making in inter-party chats, he still is able to summon the Caucus for Change members. Will you try and now engage these members of the Caucus for Change who supported you in the convention? Will you try and engage them now so that you can be their leader?
I am the leader of the United Democratic Party. Whether the Caucus for Change, whether non-affiliated, I will continue as I have done to engage all of my colleagues.
Of course, this is a story we'll keep following closely. We take a break now. When we come back, he was featured on the news 2 days ago, but a teenage accident victim suddenly died today. We'll talk to his mom. And another six-figure wrongful termination payout for the Belize Tourism Board. We'll tell you about it.
This X-Massive season, get rewarded and build up your B-Bucks at Benny's. Look out for the special B-Bucks Builder sticker when purchasing tiles, paints, home goods, appliances, and more to earn 10, 20, 50, or even 300 B-Bucks on a single item. Remember, B-Bucks is free money. The more you build up your B-Bucks, the more you have to use across all Benny's locations and entities. Make this Christmas season X-Massive with B-Bucks. B-Bucks, rewarding loyalty.
I remember how energetic you were when we were setting up your nursery. Do you remember this one?
That's when we went on vacation. I loved the pool. I made a big splash.
This is a memorable one for me. That was the year you were very thoughtful.
I remember that year. I had to save all my money to buy everyone a gift.
These past years have brought so much joy to our family.
You too can feel the Christmas joy with an Atlantic Bank Easy Credit Loan. Borrow for that special gift, improve your home, or for your holiday travels. Apply today and take advantage of great interest rates, easy and fast approval, discounted bank fees, and convenient repayment terms. Our approved loans from October 3rd to December 16th, 2022 will be entered into our Christmas raffle. For more details, visit atlabank.com. Atlantic Bank, spreading Christmas joy this holiday season.
If you've got a lot more good years ahead of you, if you exercise and eat right, but what if something happened? What if you were the 1 in 3 that will be diagnosed with cancer? If you were the 1 in 4 who would suffer serious heart issues? What if it ruined more than your health? What if it ruined your financial stability as well? Sagicor's critical illness solutions can give you confidence in the face of every what if. Let's help you plan for the what ifs today. Talk to your Sagicor advisor or visit sagicor.com.
Do you need to apply for a Social Security card? With our newest online service, My Social Security, applying for a card just got easier. With a My Social Security account, you can apply for a card anytime and anywhere, putting you in control. To use this service, you must first create your My Social Security account. Visit our website. Under Online Services, select My Social Security, provide your personal information, and await activation of your new account. After activation, you are free to log in to your My Social Security account to complete your online application for a Social Security card. Be sure to book your registration appointment to finish the card application process. Gain control and truly experience Social Security at your fingertips.
Channel 7's Christmas Bram is here. It's all happening from Sunday, December 11th to Thursday, December 15th.
And we want you to come up on all the giveaways. So how do you do that?
Come to our office on Albert Street to buy your 25-cent ticket. You can buy as many as you want for more and more chances at a prize.
That ticket gets your name in the barrel and gives you a chance to win cash prizes, jewelry, electronic appliances, and much, much more.
Then, join us in person on Thursday, December 15th for the Bram's grand finale at Blue Martini. Your $10 entrance gets you a golden ticket to win even bigger prizes.
So that's 5 nights of non-stop entertainment, non-stop giveaways, and non-stop fun.
We live in a world where undernutrition and obesity can exist side by side in the same country, home, or even person. Foods high in sugars, salt, and/or unhealthy fats are leading to unhealthy diets and are one reason why children may not be growing healthily, while causing other people to develop overweight or obesity. The consumption of unhealthy diets is heavily influenced by marketing. Easy access is fueling this new nutrition reality, but thankfully, change towards a healthier future is possible. By having a sustainable healthy diet made up of a variety of foods that are safe for consumption, we can promote health and have better abilities to fight illness. How do we do this? Good nutrition for women during pregnancy and for children in their first 1,000 days of life, including breastfeeding, sets them up for healthy adulthood and future generations. We should eat more fresh fruits and vegetables, whole grains, pulses, nuts and seeds, and less sugary drinks and foods high in sugars, salt and unhealthy fats. The less of these foods we buy, the more the food industry will be encouraged to produce foods that contribute to healthy diets. We can also call on our leaders to make the right decisions so that every person, everywhere, can afford and access good nutrition. When people like you and me, industries and governments work together to make positive changes, we can create a healthier world.
This message is brought to you by the Insurance Corporation of Belize. Please be advised that all claims relating to Hurricane Lisa must be submitted by the 2nd of December 2022. To report a claim, call 224-5328 or 224-5329. Call or WhatsApp 613-0693 or 613-0645. Email icb@icbinsurance.com. Claim forms are available on icbinsurance.com. We are aware that this is your time of need, and we will do our best to efficiently serve you. May God bless you and your family and keep you safe.
Belize Dara Cyber Home Theater presents a tribute to the late great Otis Redding on Saturday, December 10th, 2022. It's an all-white affair and dance, live music by Mr. Mellow Madness Metro, live DVD performance of Otis Redding on the big screen.
Think about it, baby. Listen, you really ought to think about.
Bring out the entire family to the Ex-Servicemen League on 158 Newtown Barracks on Saturday, December 10th, 2022 from 8 p.m. until. Entrance is only $10.
I'll let nothing separate us.
Next Gen takes you to Qatar. Catch the live action and excitement of FIFA World Cup 2022 from November 20th to December 18th exclusively on Next Gen. Make the switch and sign up today. Packages start as low as $5. Next Gen, the official broadcaster of FIFA World Cup in Belize.
Belize, you're watching the Nation Station, Channel 7.
I remember how energetic you were when we were setting up your nursery. Do you remember this one?
That's when we went on vacation. I loved the pool. I made a big splash.
This is a memorable one for me. That was the year you were very thoughtful.
I remember that year. I had to save all my money to buy everyone a gift.
These past years have brought so much joy to our family.
You too can feel the Christmas joy with an Atlantic Bank Easy Credit Loan. Borrow for that special gift, improve your home, or for your holiday travels. Apply today and take advantage of great interest rates, easy and fast approval, discounted bank fees, and convenient repayment terms. Our approved loans from October 3rd to December 16th, 2022 will be entered into our Christmas raffle. For more details, visit atlabank.com. Atlantic Bank, spreading Christmas joy this holiday season.
On Tuesday, we gave you an update on Jaheem Williams, the 17-year-old accident victim who had been fighting for his life since October 12th inside the KHMH. His condition seemed to have improved. He was awake and slightly responsive, but since then, he rapidly deteriorated. And this morning, he went into cardiac arrest and passed away. His death has sent his family and friends into a spiral, leaving his mother unsure of how to move on without her son. Today, Courtney Menzies spoke with her outside of the hospital and has this story.
17-year-old Jaheem Williams was a bright teenager with a love of football and a dream of being a teacher. But the endless possibilities he had before him vanished the moment the busito he was traveling in almost 2 months ago collided into an ambulance. And while Jaheem held on for weeks, the sixth former passed away early this morning as his mother was trying to procure the medication that might have saved his life.
The day before yesterday, I came to the hospital and they told me that they had found a bacteria in his lungs and he was passing it through his urine as well. So they had to put him in isolation because they're not sure if it was contagious or not. So basically we had to find out, they had to put him on a new antibiotic. Like always, there's none. So I had to do it on myself again, get the prescription, and I went to Chetomal yesterday. I located that antibiotic at Clinica Carranza, but they had to order it at Merida, so I had to pay, and then I had to go pick it up today at 1 o'clock. So when I got the news about Jaheem passing this morning, I was on the bus 6:30 this morning. They called me. The bus didn't leave as yet. It was still at Terminal. And they called me. They told me that he passed. I just jumped off the bus and I came over here. Right now, it's really rough. As people watch me now and say, this lady is strong, but I'm tearing up inside. I still in disbelief, but when I went there this morning, I stood there in the room with Jaheem, and I watched him, and Jaheem looked normal to me. Like every day when I come here, that's how I used to see him. So to me, I was just still not saying that he's dead until when I see until they wheel him out in that body bag. Then I could say that he's gone.
And that pain is compounded by the fact that Jaheem was just trying to get home, the same routine he did every day. It was on his way that the ambulance, which was overtaking another vehicle to save someone else's life, crashed into the busito he was traveling in. And up to now, no one has been charged, so there are no fingers to point the blame. But Williams says the family is looking at taking legal action.
From the understanding that I had gotten when I reached out to the officer that was in charge in Corozal, he had told me that they had passed the file to, I think it's the DPP, and they're doing a thorough investigation before they could point finger on who is in the wrong. So they haven't come to a decision as yet. So I just have to wait until they finalize that. I've spoken to our families, and we're trying to see if we could get some legal advisory on this situation. Like I said, Jaheem was, like you said, at the right place at the wrong time. So we're just, I don't know, I'm lost right now. I honestly don't know what to do or what to say right now, but we're trying to see if we could get some legal help.
But even so, Williams knows that nothing can bring back her second son. the mannerly, active, helpful boy she cherished for 17 years. And his aspiration of one day passing on the knowledge he'd gained in life was so quickly dashed.
Jaheem was always he was a really respectable child, always happy when he Jaheem was always happy. Everybody loved Jaheem. Although he like real up and everything, he has his bad side and have a good side. He was all about his family and friends. He loved football. He enjoyed doing his studies and all of that was just taken away from him in one split second. When Jaheem graduated from high school, he said, "Ma, I think I want to be a teacher." I said, "Well, Jaheem, if that's what you want to do, I'm with you 100%. And then he said, because he's a smart boy. He was in first farm till fourth farm. He was on a roll for the 4 years. So he said that he would like to share what he have learned and pass it on to other people now. I watched Jaheem when he's helping his little sisters with his schoolwork. I always laugh. I say, "Nothing I want to give you the answer. I want to explain it to you and you want to do it yourself." And I said, "Lord, Jaheem," I said, "the only sucker if your teacher asks you, you know I know if you do it because I do it for you." So yes, so I know his sisters, then they take it hard right now and everybody else. So everybody will remember Jaheem.
Courtney Menzies, 7 News.
Which happened in Ranchito Village, Corozal. No one has been charged. And in other hard news, the siren sounded on the north side this afternoon at 2 when a small wooden structure on St. Joseph Street went up in flames. Firefighters were still on the scene when our news team arrived, and the structure was not much more than ash and soot. And in the immediate aftermath of the blaze, we spoke to the fire victim's sister and neighbor, who was just grateful that the fire didn't make its way over to her home. Here's what she told us. Where were you when it got
work? And I got a phone call, but I don't know from who, but when I work up, so when I come around the curve, they don't have a fire already. I already do the ball and drop, because I said, "Lord, I don't want my house to go, jeez." Because I see how close we there. Yeah, we're close. But this is not the first, second, third, nor fourth. This is the 5th time he do that. But no, he burned down.
So it's your brother who lives next door. How is he?
I don't know where. Well, but you know, he not correct, so he attack on craziness. Then they talk to white sense and him, you know, so he came explain himself. A fire. Then he claim, well, let me see the crack head up there, but I can't say that he. Because I know my brother have mental problem, and he do this before, about 4 times before now. But finally, he burned down now.
And you have a whole other set of worries now, because where will he live?
Not my problem. That he caused it. You understand? And when my mommy alive, he made the burn it down. So, well, he succeed now. But he I was afraid for him sleep. Because I know, right? Because only him up there. Not never in the house, you know. Nothing, lone rubbish and he up there. Not never in the house. And I said nothing, I mean nothing. I don't know where I don't know where it happened, but him I don't want to take it down. The only thing I have to worry about, what they do the water, my stove, the water, by the kitchen scotch up, and some part of my living room wet. And that's a little repairs I have to, you know, but I don't want nobody, I don't like hands out. I don't want nobody, you know, and beat me, you know. So I got children, so.
Board has lost another 6-figure civil suit, which was brought on one of its former employees. This time, the litigant who went complaining to the Supreme Court is Misty Michael, the former Director of Marketing and Industry Relations. She successfully convinced the Supreme Court that she was wrongfully terminated. In April 2020, during the last few months of the former Barrow administration, she signed a 3-year contract with the BTB for an annual salary of $84,000. She worked from April 2020 until May 13, 2021, when she received a termination letter from the management of BTB under the new government. Michael then claimed just under $218,000 as damages for wrongful termination. We understand that this is the value that she would have received had the employment contract run its entire course. The BTB resisted this wrongful termination and brought a counterclaim for the declaration that, quote, the written contract of employment dated April 1, 2020, made between the claimant and the defendant is invalid and or unenforceable, as neither the claimant's appointment as Director and Head of Department of Marketing and Industry Relations nor her remuneration was approved by the minister, end quote. Senior Counsel E. Andrew Marshallek represented the BTB. After reviewing the arguments made by Michael and her attorney, Senior Counsel Dean Barrow, Justice Lisa Schumann ruled in their favor. In her judgment, Justice Schumann said, quote, this court finds in the circumstances that it was not for the claimant to prove that she had a valid contract, but for the defendant to show that her contract was in fact invalid and unenforceable. So, after determining that the contract and the clause were valid, the judge turned to whether or not the claimant was wrongfully terminated. She referred to testimony from the current Director of Tourism, Evan Tillett, where he said that they wanted to cut back on compensation packages, and said that in Michael's case, they could have paid her, but it was not prudent. Justice Schumann seized on that, saying, quote, the attempt to convince this court that unable to pay means it is not prudent to pay is unconvincing. Inability does not mean imprudence, especially when the evidence shows that same post is filled on the day following the termination of the claimant. The claimant was wrongfully terminated and that she was terminated without cause, end quote. With those findings, Justice Schumann ordered that the claimant, Misty Michael, is entitled to damages in the sum of a little under $218,000 plus interest of 6% per annum from the date of her termination and legal costs. We understand that there are pending lawsuits of wrongful termination against BTB from 2 of Michael's peers. Knowledgeable observers tell us that those suits may end up going against the BTB and in favor of those former employees because the circumstances of their termination were similar to Michael's. So the BTB is now staring down the Karen Bevins misadventure of almost $750,000, plus Misty Michael's $218,000 and possibly damages connected to the wrongful termination suits from those other employees. Belize's Amnesty program has been officially extended for another 3 months until February of 2023. So far, over 9,300 individuals, including asylum seekers, have applied for amnesty. That decision from Cabinet was quite a welcome one for personnel at UNICEF and International Organization for Migration, who have been working to make sure that every migrant man, woman, or child who applies and qualifies to become a Belizean citizen has the chance to do so. And that's a task that's taken massive effort across much of Belize's rural landscape. And in the wake of the government's decision, a release from the UN agency says that their efforts have included, quote, assisting migrants in covering the costs for translations of foreign documents, photographs, medical services, and police records needed for their amnesty applications, end quote. They also expect to, quote, follow up by covering the cost of permanent residency for the most vulnerable who are granted that pathway by the government of Belize. It's a tall order and one that certainly needed the additional time. But we heard that firsthand this afternoon when we stopped by the IOM's Belize City offices and spoke with Head of Operations, Diana Locke.
Well, the government made that decision to extend the program. We certainly welcome it because we had actually written to the minister on the 29th. That was the same day that apparently Cabinet made the decision. So we had an inclination that it might have been extended because of the low numbers. but we weren't sure, and so we were very happy, hence the release that the UN agencies put out to say that we welcome the decision of the government to extend the amnesty.
When you say low numbers, why do you feel that is?
It's low because the government was projecting between 40 to 60,000. From our part, we were going at about 25,000, and we were hoping that we could get somewhere in the region of a little bit more than what actually happened in 1999, sorry. Right, so that number, I think around that time was about 10,000, 11,000. We're hoping that we could exceed that number this time, because we do believe that there are people out there that are not coming in for various reasons. We need to move very quickly on that, because once you get the document and you have the birth certificate, then you need to get the passport to have a photo ID. These things impact a police record. And so you need a photo ID, whether expired or currently valid, in order to get a police record. So for us, those key things are things we want to jump on very quickly in the month of December to start the ball rolling with those. Getting the embassy to work with us, verify, so that people can get back that document and we can go through the process of getting the police record for them.
Now that you have this extension, how do you go about ramping up efforts to try and reach more people?
We have already identified the locations that the UN team will go back to. So I think we have a total of 8 weekends, because the month of December, hardly anything happens and our staff needs a break, a mental health break. They've been working 7 days a week for a long time. And so basically we're not doing anything in the field in December. We're still giving advice and we're still processing a lot of numbers here. And so what we will be doing is looking at the village reports, because we've gone into detail of having numbers for each of the villages that we visited, how many people we've seen. We would like to sit with the government partner, not necessarily exchanging any information, but sit there and compare who we have prepared to who have submitted. So you could do a name calling if you do like the election process, and you could call a name, because there are limited villages that we're looking at. It's not the countrywide, but we've targeted, I think we're looking at Belmopan, we're looking at San Ignacio, we're looking at Belize District, meaning Ladyville, and probably a part of Belize City. Toledo, we're looking at South Stan Creek, and we're also looking at perhaps Key Cocker and San Pedro, but they would have to come together in one location, more than likely in San Pedro. So that's what we're targeting right now. We're doing some calls, talking to people on the ground out there. But these are the ones that we've identified in terms of the 6 weekends that we're going to be working in the next year. Out of the 8, these 6 are the places that we want to target, and we're going to be looking for those people who have been prepared by IOM, but whose name does not appear in the list of somebody who has made an application already. So those are the people that we have seen that might not have gone in to submit an application. If we get 100% of them that has gone in, that we're happy, we look for more. But if they haven't, and there are challenges that they're having, maybe they were still waiting for a passport, maybe they're still waiting for a birth certificate, those are the people that we're going to try to reach out to ensure that those people get their application in.
And all that was explained in a letter that the UN agency sent to Minister Eamon Courtney on the 29th of November. It pleaded with the minister and the government to allow for an amnesty extension due to all the challenges that the process had encountered thus far. But it seems that the extension was already under heavy consideration. This afternoon, IOM office head Diana Locke told us that Cabinet's decision came on the very same day that the letter was sent.
The letter that we're talking about, we wrote him and shared with him the challenges that we had in getting the beneficiaries prepared, transportation, economic cost, just the fare, and other little things that we came across, getting challenges with birth certificates. We shared those things with him, and we asked for their consideration of the extension. These conversations have been ongoing forever since, but we just thought it would have been good to document it, since we did not have anything formal or we didn't have a sit down. And so we were hopeful. I was hopeful. And I think based on all the conversations that we've had with the government, they have been very receptive. So I figured it would happen, but we can't assume things until it becomes official and the cabinet makes its decision. So we just documented those facts to the minister, and basically when we sent the letter to him, the response was immediate that the cabinet had approved the letter, so the extension of the amnesty. So we were very happy about that.
But many who aren't happy about the perceived risks of the amnesty application are the migrants who feel they might not qualify for the process. As you've heard, that would mean that they aren't married, are not the parent of a Belizean child, or simply haven't been here long enough. And for those who find themselves in that position, going through the process could seem like too much of a risk. We put that question to Locke this afternoon, but she made sure to reassure potential applicants that their information will not be shared with anyone.
I have to ask you, this question was asked to the Prime Minister, and I know you say you won't share the information with anyone, but what about the government of Belize? Because the fear some people still do have is that I present myself, I don't qualify, and at the end of this process, I will be easier identified to then be kicked out of the country.
Let me see how best to word this. I don't think that resources will allow for you to go. First of all, amnesty records are not in the possession of neither the Immigration Border Management Department, who does enforcement, neither is it in the possession of the police. It's with the Amnesty Office. So that very limited people have access to that. So I could start there. So when this process is over, I don't see people being targeted if you happen to be in the wrong place at the wrong time and there's an operation going on, as in any part of the day, time, night, right now, you will be picked up and you will be asked questions. So I really have no, I don't think that that's going to happen. They're not going to be targeting people. You happen to be in the wrong place and the wrong time, you will be picked up. But no, I don't see people, I've never seen it happen before, and I don't think there's time or even resources for that to happen now, where you're going to go targeting people. So I don't think that that is the intention of the government, to go look for people. They've never done it before, and I don't see it happening now, but I do believe that they will put stronger procedures in place and more precautions in place, that people would think twice before coming into the country and just staying in an irregular fashion. I want to assure people that I really and truly believe that when we look at your application at IOM, we have been properly briefed. My knowledge of the immigration procedures and the stuff allows me, when we see someone that we think don't qualify, we don't turn them away until I've talked to them, to find other ways, to ask many more questions. So for the most part, we only encountered, in the 4,500 persons that we engaged with, individuals, only 344 of those persons didn't qualify. That information is not given to anybody. It's not going to be shared with anybody. We have a Privacy Act. Nobody gets our information unless we have an agreement, and we certainly wouldn't be sharing names. So I don't think people need to worry too much about that, about not being qualified. If you have a reputable agency assisting you, any one of the 3 UN agencies that are out there working with that, there are other persons in the community, the representatives of the minister's office, they've also been trained, village leaders have been trained. When they help you to complete an application form and you fit into one of those 8 criteria, once you have sufficient documentation, I don't think you have anything to worry about. Having a Belizean child makes it so much easier, because that's all the proof you need, is the birth certificate. Now, there are lots of people out there who are having challenges with vital statistics, getting those birth certificates to participate in the amnesty. We're trying to find ways to address that situation.
To reach as many vulnerable people as possible, including those living in remote communities, the UN agency set up mobile clinics to ensure services were available to those in remote areas. That work continues next weekend as the teams return to rural Toledo. Yesterday, we told you that Stella Maris Primary School was planning an inclusion parade, a march through the streets of downtown Belize to raise awareness about the importance of inclusivity for special needs children. The staff at the school know all too well that their students tend to be shunned in society, both as children and when they are ready to enter the workforce. So for Disability Week, they plan various activities to sensitize able-bodied children to the requirements of special needs kids. And it all culminated into today's parade. Courtney Menzies was there and has this story.
It's not unusual for children to want to be included in group activities, especially with their friends. But for kids with special needs, it's not as easy to be included since they are often ostracized. That's why for Disability Week, Stella Maris Primary School normally organizes an inclusion parade to highlight the need for these children to be a part of society and what society needs to do to integrate them. And this year, it was bigger than ever, with participation from a number of organizations and schools, which is exactly what Stella Maris and the other organizers hoped for.
It's a beauty that this week is celebrated as Disability Awareness Week. We're so happy to be here and we're so happy to see so many schools participating. And in one way, it is showing inclusiveness, and that is what we need throughout the year. We know that at times, it's good when there's an event, but throughout the entire year, inclusiveness is very important. As you can see, so many other schools are here. We have organizations out here, and we're so happy to be out here to celebrate the achievements and the love of others for kids with special needs and persons on a whole living with disabilities.
Exceedingly gratified and heartwarmed by the outpouring of support. This is Disability Awareness Week, and this is an awesome awareness event. Throughout the week, we did a lot of school visits, and the message is that there has to be total inclusion. The students who are fully abled, they have a good appreciation, understanding the limitations of persons with disability, and they want to take on the role and responsibility of being their partners and include them and having them feeling encouraged, welcome, and included.
First of all, the outcome was outstanding. I think it's the largest one I've seen. We had a lot of participation from different schools. I think all the city high schools came in. We had not only just participation in the parade, the SCA girls came about and they actually cleaned up the entire park afterwards for us. So that's outstanding.
At bringing up the rear of the parade was the Minister of Human Development, who spoke about the importance of respecting and including special needs children.
Happy Disability Week, and let's support all our people with disability, whatever special need. As you can see on the back of the T-shirt, say somebody retarded or what, they have special needs, and we're raising awareness to all people with disability. Full respect. We had World AIDS Day yesterday, and we want to highlight the vulnerabilities and special needs of people. So I can't do the walking right now, but we are in the parade.
How important is it that these children with special needs feel included and are integrated properly into society?
Absolutely, absolutely. It's of paramount importance because regardless of whatever special need, everybody has the right to inclusion. As a matter of fact, the motto of our ministry is equality and inclusion. So we highlight that this week. Big respect to Marshall Nunes and his team.
A great thing to know that as our students at Stella Maris leave school, that they integrate well into society, and the need for more inclusion is very important. As you can see, the placards that we have are displaying ways of inclusion within the community. We know that persons living with disabilities, they have their own need to be included in everything. In the political arena, in the social arena, in the cultural arena, even in the economical arena. And it's not that they don't have any disability per se. They have a disability, yes, but then they have so much more to give to our community.
The team alone speaks to meaningful inclusion matters. Not because you have a classroom and you put a disabled child in there, the school is now all of a sudden disabled friendly. So it has to be with the tools and all the material and the know-how from the teachers and the oversight from the ministry, which they have, to make sure that the inclusivity is there. Also to integration between the children, making sure that they understand that some people are born differently and that they can still be friends, they can still hang out, they can still play as well. And as long as that is being constantly being endorsed and pushed by the ministry and the people and the school and the persons and the parents, it will lead to better, higher inclusion and a greater level of satisfaction from everybody, those who are able or disabled at the same time.
And the adults aren't the only ones who had a good time. The marching, dancing, and the beat of the drums excited the children, who were glad to have a day out of the classroom. Feeling today?
Good.
What do you think about the parade?
Good.
Are you excited to march in this parade?
Yes, Mom.
How do you feel about all the people who are out here?
I can't say good, but that's a good we are then, but it it's also good.
What's your favorite part about the parade?
I like it so much. Drum name.
Drums? Can you play?
Yeah, a little bit, but I can't play good though.
Okay, but would you want to be in a marching band?
Yes, Mom.
Are you excited for this parade?
Yes, Mom.
What's your favorite part about the parade?
Well, drumming and marching.
Okay. And what do you feel about all the people who came out here to support you today?
Well, I don't know. They're good.
The parade started at the Shell gas station and ended at Battlefield Park. Courtney Menzies, 7 News.
Some of the other organizations that were a part of the parade were the Department of Human Services, the Department of Youth Services, NARCY, the Cancer Society, the Diabetes Association, and more. We take a break now. When we come back, the UDP Caucus for Change says they still have John Saldivar's back. And how much green can you earn from the blue economy? We'll take you to a fair that explores those options.
I remember how energetic you were when we were setting up your nursery. Do you remember this one?
That's when we went on vacation. I loved the pool. I made a big splash.
This is a memorable one for me. That was the year you were very thoughtful.
I remember that year. I had to save all my money to buy everyone a cake.
These past years have brought so much joy to our family.
You too can feel the Christmas joy with an Atlantic Bank Easy Credit Loan. Borrow for that special gift, improve your home, or for your holiday travels. Apply today and take advantage of great interest rates, easy and fast approval, discounted bank fees, and convenient repayment terms. Our approved loans from October 3rd to December 16th, 2022 will be entered into our Christmas raffle. For more details, visit atlabank.com. Atlantic Bank, spreading Christmas joy this holiday season.
Every business has a beginning. The BCCAR is transforming the business environment through digital registration. OBRS is a secure, web-based solution that will allow users to easily register your business or company, file documents electronically, receive e-certificates, and more. Business registration goes digital on November 28, 2022. Follow us on Facebook and YouTube to learn more about the OBRS.
I must be dreaming.
Oh no, honey bun, you're not. Everything you hear so far, that's true. Delta Store has a new look. Delta Store is at the same location, right down Albert Street. Delta Store has a wide variety of fabric. Delta Store offers quality and savings. Everything in a Delta Store is only $4.99 or less. Snap out of that dream and head on down to Delta Store today. Channel 7's Christmas Bram is here. It's all happening from Sunday, December 11th to Thursday, December 15th.
And we want you to come up on all the giveaways. So how do you do that?
Come to our office on Albert Street to buy your 25-cent ticket. You can buy as many as you want for more and more chances at a prize.
That ticket gets your name in the barrel and gives you a chance to win cash prizes, jewelry, electronic appliances, and much, much more.
Then, join us in person on Thursday, December 15th for the Brams Grand Finale at Blue Martini. Your $10 entrance gets you a golden ticket to win even bigger prizes.
So that's 5 nights of non-stop entertainment, non-stop giveaways, and non-stop fun.
The human papillomavirus HPV is responsible for 90% of cervical cancer cases. 80% of the population may be infected with HPV during their lifetime. HPV screening can prevent cervical cancer. Females 25 to 65 years old get tested for HPV. The HPV test is now available at your nearest health facility. A message from the Ministry of Health and Wellness and the Pan American Health Organization, World Health Organization, with funding and partnership support from the United States of America.
Do you need to apply for a Social Security card? With our newest online service, My Social Security, applying for a card just got easier. With a My Social Security account, you can apply for a card anytime and anywhere, putting you in control. To use this service, you must first create your My Social Security account. Visit our website. Under Online Services, select My Social Security, provide your personal information, and await activation of your new account. After activation, you are free to log in to your My Social Security account to complete your online application for a Social Security card. Be sure to book your registration appointment to finish the card application process. Gain control and truly experience Social Security at your fingertips.
Please, you're watching the Nation Station, Channel 7.
important, but Petgas, which is a Mexican company, and we are looking for sustainable solutions, not only talking, but really implementing.
And looking at his setup, the obvious question is, how does he sleep? We asked him that today, and here's what he said.
Or ashore, and I try to find a hotel or something. But when this is not possible, I sleep on board my little vessel. Let me show you how. Cuidado con la arena porque es que le estás limando con la arena, hermano. Es que te jodea.
Alvaro will continue to Panama to cross to the Pacific Ocean coast and travel up all the way to Alaska, where he will then cross over to Russia to continue along Asia and finally into the Mediterranean before arriving in Seville. He has 2 years of navigation ahead of him. Cherise Halsall, 7 News. The Marichalar set sail 3 years ago from Seville on August 10th. The pandemic stopped his expedition until February 19, 2022, when he was able to restart his challenge, sailing along the Gulf of Mexico all the way to Bacalar. On Wednesday, you heard the mayor say that the problem of mentally ill persons wandering the streets has gotten worse, and that the root of the issue stems from a deinstitutionalization of the mental health. Basically because there are no facilities, there are few treatment options for them. But the Mental Health Association begs to differ. In a letter to the mayor, they explain that while they understand the mayor's frustration, they also believe that, quote, the solution to these issues is far more complex than locking people up and out of sight. The problems we face today are not because of the concept of a deinstitutionalization of mental health care, but of its adequate application. End quote. The MHA continues by saying that though City Council has partnered with them in the past to provide social support to the Welcome Resource Center, much more needs to be done to further develop that initiative and to provide other forms of support, such as sheltered, non-institutional housing and more options for acute medical care. According to the MHA, these responses offer a long-term and humane solution, which are also more cost-effective over time than institutions. They're not calling for a working group of relevant ministries such as health, human development, tourism, home affairs, and other stakeholders such as MHA to seriously consider a long-term plan. Earlier in the news, we told you about the judgment which arrived this evening, fresh off the desk of Justice Lisa Schumann, judge of the High Court of Belize, formerly the Supreme Court. She ruled that the Belize Tourism Board wrongfully terminated Misty Michael, the former Director of Marketing and Industry Relations, and ordered the BTB to pay Michael a little under $218,000. We understand that today was Justice Schumann's final day in court, and she will now work to provide written judgments for outstanding cases before her courtroom. After that, she's preparing to take up a prestigious post at CARICOM as the regional body's general counsel. Former Prime Minister Barrow's administration appointed her as a judge of the High Court, and he says Belize's jurisprudence benefited from her wisdom and sharp legal mind. Yesterday, we asked Barrow about that posting that Justice Schumann will occupy alongside another distinguished Belizean, Dr. Carla Barnett, who is currently serving as the 8th Secretary General of CARICOM.
As I understand it, she's going as the General Counsel to CARICOM, to the CARICOM Secretariat, to the Caribbean Community Organization.
And so she'll be working alongside S.G. Barnett.
Dr. Barnett, indeed. So it's a great plus for us, two Belizeans as Secretary General and as General Counsel. But let me tell you what you and the public will no doubt find especially interesting. There are some real luminaries that have preceded her in that job, which underlines the importance of the position. I think first of all of Duke Pollard, a Guyanese, who was General Counsel. After he demitted office, he was one of the first to be appointed to the Caribbean Court of Justice. So you're talking about people at that level. Winston Anderson, currently
CCJ judge.
On the CCJ.
Chair of the Academy of Law.
He was General Counsel to CARICOM. Kenny Anthony, who afterwards became Prime Minister for 2 terms, if not 3, of St. Lucia, who was General Counsel for CARICOM. So it's a very distinguished position that has been given to our Lisa Schumann, and I think the Belize can be justifiably proud. Now, for her, I think it's a wonderful opportunity, because remember I started off by saying how great she was as a diplomat. In a sense, this new job is at the intersection of law and diplomacy.
So why did the former PM brave criticism from his party's supporters to appoint Justice Schumann, a former PUP Minister of Foreign Affairs? Well, he told us that he expected she would acquit herself admirably.
Lisa Schumann is an extremely talented Belizean. When she was Foreign Minister, when she was Ambassador and then Foreign Minister, I thought she did a magnificent job. And of course, she's been lauded by various international organizations, including particularly, as I remember, the OAS. They gave her some sort of accolade for how well she performed when she was our ambassador to the OAS. So that she's right, of that there's never been any doubt. As a judge, she's made an absolutely positive impact. There are 2 things. It's not just that she is good and she knows her law and that she works hard. It is that her temperament, her judicial temperament, is perhaps the best I have ever seen. And let me tell you what I mean by that. You go in front of her with a case. Number 1, she has prepared. She has read what it's all about before the matter starts. So she is mistress of her brief. That's the first thing that's absolutely outstanding about her. The second thing is the way she treats litigants and counsel. She is extremely even-handed. There's no doubt that she's the boss, but she has the kind of confidence in running her courtroom that means she doesn't have to scold anybody. She doesn't have to get rude with anybody. She doesn't have to insult a soul. And there have been judges in the past, not particularly during my time from 15, 16 years ago, but, and this is of course reports that I have had, that have, whose conduct in that regard has left a lot to be desired. Lisa, completely equable at handling things with equanimity. In other words, she was judicial and judicious without being officious. Never had to put her foot down and assert her authority. It came naturally because she behaved in such a way as to command respect.
As viewers will have definitely taken notice, Justice Schumann was very media-friendly, a stark contrast to her brother and sister judges. In other news about the judiciary, Governor General Froila Salam swore in 3 members of the judiciary: Chief Justice Louise Blenman, Justice Minette Hafiz Bertram, and Justice Michelle Arana. Chief Justice Blenman was sworn in on September 2nd, but due to the passing of the Senior Courts Bill, which saw the restructuring of the Office of the Chief Justice, she was sworn in a second time on November 22nd. With this new procedure, she can now assume her new role as the judicial leader of the High Court, formerly the Supreme Court and the Court of Appeal. Justice Hafiz Bertram was sworn in on November 22nd as the President of the Court of Appeal. Since December 2020, she has held the post of acting president. And finally, Justice Michelle Arana was sworn in on Wednesday as a judge of the Court of Appeal. She served as acting Chief Justice from April 2020 until the recent appointment of Chief Justice Blenman. Earlier this week, we brought you coverage of the latest compliance hearing hosted by the Caribbean Court of Justice to hear from the Government of Belize and the Maya of Southern Belize. They were looking for updates on how far the two sides had progressed in implementing Maya communal land rights. If you ask the two sides, they'll freely concede that they have made some progress, but that there are many more steps that must be taken to turn this principle of Maya community land rights into a recognized and respected system at the Ministry of Natural Resources. Also, depending on who you ask, the other side is responsible for delaying the process. You've heard the Mayan side complain that the government regularly makes unilateral decisions that they don't support. For example, submitting a draft FPIC protocol, which they did not sign off on. Well, yesterday evening, Senior Counsel Andrew Marszalek told us from his observation the claimants are quick to take an adversarial position on minor issues. He reasons that those quibbling over minor issues is causing delays in finalizing more critical agenda items on the implementation roadmap, which called for crafting documents such as a Maya land policy. Here's how he made that case to us via Zoom yesterday.
The roadmap calls for the formulation of a Maya land policy, and that will be a document which describes the concepts and ideas which are to form the basis for the legislation. So it's a document that you'll present to the people who will actually draft the legislation in order to achieve these overall objects as stated within that. That policy is something we've been actively working on and trying to settle. Now, this is an issue that has attracted diverse views. So it's important from a government's perspective that everybody gets on board with the policy at the beginning. You don't want a situation where a policy is created, it goes to draft it, and when you're looking at the bill at the final moment, nobody can agree to it. We need to start building consensus from the very beginning, and it starts from building that consensus within government itself before it can present it to the other side for comments and further consideration. And it is building that consensus within government that we've been working on, the consensus of policy. So there's a cabinet subcommittee appointed, and they've been dealing with it in great detail. And that's where we are just now. Once that document is completed, then it can be shared. It can go through all the consultation process. Everybody else can offer their views on what they think it should be or shouldn't be, or what needs to be done in relation to it. And once that's settled, then it goes to drafting. And then once the draft is prepared, which reflects the policy, then that again is consulted upon. And everybody gets to say whether they like that or don't like it. And then eventually that goes through the legislative, that's presented to Parliament and goes through the legislative process. So all that needs to be done. And while that might sound simple, given the nature of what's involved, the magnitude of the claims, the potential for negative impact on the rest of the population, and the need to balance and harmonize all the interests that are affected by it, it's a mammoth task. And that's where our efforts need to be focused.
Marszalek is hoping that the claimants will keep in mind that the government has to tread carefully, because the swathe of land that could end up being deemed as Maya customary lands could be as much as 1 million acres. He points out that the authorities and the cabinet must carefully consider all consequences, intended or not, that could flow from the implementation if it is mishandled. So what does he think about the complaints from the Mayas that the government's intended change in the contractual arrangement with the Dispute Resolution Authority is inadequate? That was raised as a major disagreement before the CCJ, and here's what Marszalek had to say about it.
That was the subject of one paragraph in the compliance report submitted by the government. And on any reading of that paragraph, it cannot mean what the other side is suggesting it means. All it says is that there is no longer any desire to keep contracting Ms. Salario, which is on an annual basis, when for the last year, since last November, there has been no new complaints to the authority. So what we said is look, we won't renew the contract. But if any complaints are made, we hire the authority, we pay the authority on a per job basis. And that's the clear meaning and intent of what was reported. That has been taken and misrepresented entirely to suggest that government is doing away with the authority and there'll be no independent person to whom complaints can be directed. That clearly was never the intention.
So what about the part that says that the possibility exists that complaints could come through the Office of the Commissioner of Indigenous Peoples Affairs? The other side clearly doesn't trust him to be completely objective since he's an agent of the state. What are your thoughts on that?
He's not deciding on any complaints. It's a place where the complaint can be lodged and then the steps taken to pass it to the expert, to the independent expert. As it is, when these complaints go to the independent experts, generally she will investigate, find, and give directions back to the same office, the same commissioner you referred to take remedial action. The point is, if you want to make a complaint and the complaint passes through the office, then he can take remedial action even without having to go through all the formal procedures.
We also asked about the scolding from the CCJ president for the government when he learned that GOB hadn't provided the claimant with a finalized version of the still contested free prior informed consent protocol.
All difference to the court, as we explained to them, there was a change to one word in the title of the document. And the suggestion is that because the document wasn't printed and given to them again, they never got the final document. Well, that might be technically true, but the rest of it remains the same as it always was, and they certainly have that.
But sir, I see your point that it's a simple name change. That's the only thing that changes. But isn't it prudent to give these claimants, the persons who have complained bitterly against the government, less reasons to complain? Like, I see that as a problem you all could have avoided.
Well, this is the whole problem and the thrust of the whole thing. Because by quibbling over all of these little things, we detract away from the big things, which is the settlement of the policy and the achievement of the required legislation. But we seem content to be stuck on quibbling over little things that don't take us very far one way or the other. So from an overall perspective, from a global perspective, the time is better served focusing the energy on achieving the work that needs to be achieved in order for the required legislation to be formulated, conceived, formulated, and passed.
And that's 7 News Tonight. Thanks for watching. I'm Cherise Halsell. You can find a full transcript of the news at 7newsbelize.com and see streaming video on our Facebook page. Tune in again on Monday morning when our Sun Up on 7 morning show crew will be kicking off our month-long holiday celebrations. And Indira Craig will be back here on Monday night at